Hey friends, Silvano here from ruffinstudio.com. Welcome to a new tutorial. So today I'm going to show you a few ways on how you can create a little bit more separation for your hi-hats. Good example today from a good friend, Juice. He's a micro house producer from Switzerland, and he likes to use a lot of percussion and a lot of hi-hats, open hats. And what my job was to create some kind of separation space, but still not to lose the groove. So let's jump in if you want to learn more about this. Okay, so the first way on how you can create a little bit more separation for your hi-hats is by just using a panning, right? So what I use for this is the Pan Man from Soundtoys. I really love this plugin, and what I do here is I just use different width settings, right? And depending on the rhythm of the hi-hat, I also use the right rhythm setting and tempo synced, right? So let's just have a listen to the first hi-hat. This was before, right? Here you can actually hear it just in the middle, right? And what I wanted to do is just give it a little bit of movement, but not too much. What I want to do is just with the Pan Man. It's a really simple to use plugin, right? Because you can really create some movement for the hi-hats just with this little plugin here. And we just created a tiny little bit of a movement, right? So if I think of a stereo track, we have the center, we have a little bit off center, then we have hard left and hard right, and we have something in between, right? Something in between hard left, hard right, off center, and I like to put the very important stuff a little bit off center. Maybe sometimes claps I go straight in the center, bass kicks, of course, all that kind of stuff. But also hi-hats I sometimes pan quite narrow because I just want to keep that groove. Hi-hats are always important for the groove, right? So I just keep it quite centered. And then what I often do is just copy the Pan Man to the new hi-hat track and then use a different setting. This is a really fast hi-hat. And again, this is quite wide. And I always like to have it in a symmetric way, right? I don't like to have something which is on the left channel more decent and on the right channel less, because in my opinion this gives some kind of a weird impression. Let's have a listen, maybe we can. Right? Sounds somehow weird if you do this. Okay, so now let's compare those two tracks. This was the before. Both are very centered, and this is after the panning. Yeah, of course it's quieter, but we already get a little bit more separation, right? Because we have that first closed hi-hat really in the center or a little bit off center, and then we have the fast one a little bit wider, shaking left and right, and then we have the third one. And here's another way on how I use Panman. And what I was using on this hi-hat was a triggered one, right? Every time it goes above a certain threshold, it jumps to a different panning side, right? To the left, to the right, to the... So it jumps back, tack, tack, tack. This can give also a little bit of groove, right? And let's compare it again. Everything is in the center here. But here we created a little bit space, a little bit movement, but we still can keep the groove, in my opinion. And then there's the third, what's that, the third one? Yeah, no, fourth. It's the off hat. I love that. I love what he's doing with this hi-hats. Again, the width here is, I would say, like this. So first hi-hat was a little bit off center, shaking back and forth. The second one like this, and then the other one, yeah, maybe a little bit broader, wider, but it's shaking really fast between. And this one is just jumping here, 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 and because this is not a constant groove, right? I like to pan it a little bit wider. So, first tip, just do different panning widths. So, off center maybe for the important stuff, and the constant stuff, right? That really drives the track, and then maybe a little bit wider, and really hard, really left. Maybe crashes, whatever it is, and I like to name it like ear candies because it just pops out sometimes, maybe damn, damn. The second way you can create a little bit more separation is by just simply use a reverb, right? And what I like to use is using different reverb sizes. For example, here I was using a very small reverb, quantized to the BPM of the track. I also like to shelve off the high end a little bit, the top end, to control it a little bit better, the reverb. Let's have a listen. Sounds really dry, right? And the question is, how much reverb should you send? It's a taste thing really, but I like to do it like play that track, bring it in. I can hear it, right? You can hear it a little bit. And then just until you can hear it, bring it back a little bit, creating a little bubble around that hi-hat. Something like that, right? And I did this on every hi-hat, and in the end it sounded like this. Let's compare it with reverb and panning. This is the plain unprocessed, and this is with panning and reverb. And yeah, so that's it. Very simple. Some people like to use some delays, or maybe instead of reverbs. I like to use reverbs. It's so simple. If this was helpful to you, I have a free gift for you, which is my 7-step low-end checklist. It's a PDF packed with all the techniques, the gear, the plugins that you need for a better and more balanced and punchy low end. If you don't have it, go to the description below and just download it. It's for free, of course. And also, if you have any questions, just leave a comment. Thanks. I hope this helps. Thanks for your time. Cheers.